Hey, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy.
I'm Tim.
I'm Rod.
And today we're going to be looking at a game called Legendary Marvel Deck Building Game. And we'll jump right into this and let Tim explain the instructions to us.
So this is the instructions. It's really simple. So the instructions are laid out really nice with pictures for every section and a nice brief explanation. And even the starting game setup, which I love. I love when they run the instructions, run you through a tutorial for your first game. And, you know, it's like it gives you the whole setup, the whole shebang. So it tells you exactly what cards to put in the decks and everything, which is great for your first game. So it can tell you step by step what you're going to run into and what you're supposed to do. And so it just makes it really easy to get right into the game and learn it, and then you can progress from there because there's a lot of little special notes on the cards, which is really where the game, you know, has its freshness, its replayability from this, from the text on the cards. And also comes with a nice reference sheet on the back of the instruction booklet, which means that, you know, like from after the first couple games, this is all you're going to be using anyways, is the reference sheet, which I love those. So overall, it's real easy to learn and get on there. So if you played Dominion or Thunderstone or games like that, you can recognize the game quick.
Yep. All right, well, let's talk about components.
Okay, the first thing is that it does come with a very nice board. It's got some good graphics on it. Now, this is a card game, so it goes down to the artwork again. The artwork is nice. It does what it's supposed to do. It's covers a good amount of characters. It gives you the information. It's pretty clear. The font's a little small on some of them, but for the older people like myself, it can be hard to read. But other than that, it's very nicely done.
It's the same font on all the cards.
And so again, the cards are nice. The colors are nice. I mean, it's well put together as a game. It comes in a good sized box. It has separation for your parts and stuff. So when it comes to components, I mean, I'd have to give it an A plus on it. It's real nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know some people that sleeve them. I mean, they actually have specific sleeves just for the Legendary game, and like your son's trying to sleeve all of his, right? You know, so I mean, I'm not a sleever. I don't want to get into that whole discussion. You know, yeah, there's
their own category.
There are people that sleeve and people that don't sleeve religiously. Either way, so
it's expensive too.
It is. So, but anyway, so I mean, as far as for me being a non-sleever, I don't feel necessarily the need to sleeve these. But if you are, obviously that's something you love to do. But I think the cards are good card stock. They feel good.
There's a lot of shuffling in the game. A lot of shuffling.
And that's mainly why, especially in deck building games, people like to sleeve their cards, is because of how much they're handled and stuff like that. So.
Do you want to go over the gameplay a little bit?
Yeah, so let's talk about how Legendary plays. At the beginning of the game, they're going to tell you depending on what scenario you're playing in the game, they're going to tell you which masterminds to put out into the game, and then you're going to build a villain deck that's composed of villains, it's composed of scheme twist, it's composed of bystanders that all go into this deck, and then you're also going to have a hero deck that's comprised of all the Marvel people that you expect, like Hulk and Captain America and Wolverine and Iron Man, things like that. And so as you play the game, you are going to be pulling, like as in most deck building games, you're going to have cards that have points in the bottom left-hand corner. It'll show you how much their bottom left-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner. Bottom right-hand corner. They're going to have how many points that they're worth, and so that tells you how much it costs, in essence, to buy that card. And then on the left side of the card, it's going to tell you what that card does as far as what kind of either damage that they deal, or it's going to tell you how many points that you get off of that card. So as in a typical deck building game, you're going to take turns going around, and you're going to be either buying heroes to go into your deck, or you're going to be fighting villains. And so a typical turn will be you'll draw so many cards. I forget how many cards it is, 5 maybe? I think 5 cards. You're going to draw 5 cards off the top of your deck, and then you're going to be able to do something with those. You're either going to have points where you could, and they're not called points, they're called something else in the game. basic.
It allows you to purchase your characters.
It's like renown or something.
Right. It's some kind of technical term that basically means how much money do you have in your hand that you can spend to buy cards, or you're going to have hit points or wounds, I guess, that you can cause, and those would go towards the villains that are in the city. And so what's cool about that in this deck building game is it gives you two options. So you're not just trying to buy cards, but you're also trying to fight villains. So on your turn, you draw 5 cards, and you advance the villain deck. And so a villain's going to come out onto the city. And so each turn that you take, a new villain's going to come out. Doesn't always advance it because it might be a bystander or it could be a scheme twist, but it's going to advance, and you're going to have basically so many turns, and each turn the villains are going to scoot up if a new villain comes out. They're going to scoot up, and eventually if they get to the bridge and you don't defeat them, then they're going to become an escaped villain. And so depending on the scenario, different things happen when people escape, or so many people escape. But ultimately, your goal is to buy enough heroes to build your deck up so that you can beat whoever is the mastermind. And so the only way to beat the mastermind is to pull the right cards, have enough cards in your hand, and you can do all kinds of combinations where you might be able to draw more cards or do different things, or if you have this card and that card, it gives you more power, those kinds of things, and then that's how you're able to defeat the mastermind. So in essence, that's basically how you play Legendary. Did I miss anything?
No,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like the some of the stuff on that I like was that it kind of doesn't require you to, but it sure does help that teamwork be used. So in other words, if you have let's go with a shield character, you might want to have other shield characters. They work together, and that'll cause the cards to do more for you. Mm-hmm. The same thing like like they have the expansion for the Fantastic Four. They work together. They work better together. That type of thing. So it kind of wants you to use the same type of characters together, the Avengers and so on, and it gives you a better advantage when you do that type of stuff. So I like how it brings that aspect out of the Marvel comics.
Mm-hmm. It does have a nice competitive, cooperative kind of gameplay aspect to it too, because everybody's fighting to beat the mastermind, but at the same time, everybody's fighting to be the greatest hero.
Right.
You know, they want the most points at the end, so they want to defeat the most villains, and they want to be the one that kills the mastermind the most. You know, because you get points for every hit point you take off a mastermind.
Yeah, because it's funny during the game, you're like, hey, beat him and get him, but then after they beat him, then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, he just got some points for that. And so we're working together to try to beat this mastermind, but then at the same time, I'm thinking, Tim's like way ahead of me, and he's killing us, you know?
Exactly.
And so that's kind of a cool co-op competitive feature that they added to it, you know, that at the end of the game, there's still going to be a winner, you know?
Exactly.
And then how some situations like wounds, for instance, they go into your hand, so they take up the space in your hand, so you can't do stuff. But for some teams, like Wolverine teams, wounds are good, or Hulk, you know, is like sometimes can use the wounds. You know, it actually helps you out, like it'll help you shuffle through your deck faster. But for other people, wounds would be horrible. They just take space out of their cards. So it's cool how like you could all be playing the same game, but playing completely different.
Mm-hmm. And now the base game comes with 4 masterminds. All 4 you handle completely different, so it does change the aspect of the game every time. So replayability on that aspect is great. I know that with the expansions it does the same thing. They're all very different from each other, so it makes things a lot different.
I think you get a lot for your money. You know, I forget what this one costs, but you get 500 cards in it. You know, you get a nice board. You know, you get the dividers. They give you some cards in here to be able to divide your cards up so you can organize them. I don't know how well that works, but it's still in there. So I mean, for the money, I think you get a lot. And I do think with all the different masterminds, like what you're saying, there is a lot of replayability for your $50 or so.
The only thing I'd say against that though is for the 500 cards, a lot of the artwork is just the same picture over and over again. Even on like higher leveled cards, it's the same picture a lot of times. So you have 500 cards, but you don't have 500 pieces of artwork.
Now in the expansions, they've actually fixed that. So that's the great thing. So for instance, with the newest expansion for Legendary, with the Dark City. That one they've changed. So every level, so if yours are worth 2 and it's the Hulk, they'll have a piece of artwork. And then if he's a 4, the next one is a different piece of artwork. So they changed it up. They listened to what the people were critiquing it on ahead of time, and they've changed that up. And then one of the things too about the game is they're releasing, I think they're saying 2 to 3 expansion decks a year, and then 1 big expansion a year on it is what the plan is. So for instance, the Fantastic Four is already out, Dark City's out, which is a big one. Fantastic Four is a small deck one, and there's a Spider-Man one coming out. And then at Gen Con, they're going to release a big one.
Oh, another big one.
Which we're going to be there.
Which we're going to be there for sure.
We're so excited.
So, you know, great thing too, Marvel license. I mean, that's a
big world.
I mean, that's awesome. So, you know, I had a lot of expectations on the game, and on that part, it met it. So I'm real happy with that.
Let's go ahead and rate it, guys.
Let's do it.
All right.
Secret dice in there.
Which one do you want?
Oh, I'll take that one right there.
Okay. All right.
It's gonna be hard to guess.
Okay. So at the end of our videos, what we like to do is we like to give you a 1 dice rating to tell you whether or not we think you should. Green, go buy it. White, maybe you would buy it, maybe you wouldn't. Maybe there's some reasons why you might want to think about it. And then red means don't buy it, don't even play it, you know, avoid it. So that's our simple rating. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's a 3 green rating.
Oh yeah, 3 green. This is an all-star game.
Okay,
cool.
so
Very cool.
Tell us why.
Okay, so this is not like a complicated game that you sit down with your core gamer group. This is more or less a family-oriented, just friends and family get-together kind of game. And so for that, it does a great job because it keeps it simple where it needs to be simple, but adds a little complexity enough to make it a variety game as you're playing.
So this is a deck building game, and it's similar to ones like Dominion or Thunderstone, like you said, or there's another game, deck building game, Trains. And not to get everybody mad at me, but I think that this is like Dominion and, you know, it's the same basic concept, but I like the ability that you're not just building your hand, but you're fighting the villain, so it adds that dimension to it, other than I'm just building my hand. Because technically you could play Dominion, some versions of Dominion, and not even interact with anybody. You know,
agree with you.
they're doing their hand, you do your hand, and oh, it's my turn again. Whereas this one, at least you're trying to fight villains, so you're saying, hey, go do that, you know, and then there's some cards that give you an aspect where I can help people, things like that. So that's why I like it a little bit more, and why I actually bought it. Your son's got it, and I went and bought my own copy because I thought, you know, if I'm not with him, I want to be able to play this at some point. So
I would agree with that. The thing, I mean, I thought Dominion was okay, but I really like this. I think part of it is the Marvel license, obviously. That was a big one. And then, of course, doing the battles. It just put more of a different type of competitive edge to it. This is, I mean, I rate this game very high. It's one of my favorite games right now. I thoroughly enjoy it. It is a simple game, like you're saying, but sometimes, you know, sometimes simple is better. Let's just face it. So this worked out well during the holidays, during Christmas and stuff. Before the actual holiday hit, we played this one like every single night with the kids. It's a lot of fun.
Yep. So if you have a chance, we would recommend, obviously, all 3 of us say to go buy it. So if you've got a local game store, swing by there and pick it up.
Or at Fun Again Games. Just follow our link on the website.
Yeah, also we do. We've got a link right on our website, probably right underneath this video if you're watching it on BoardGameCloset.com, where you can click buy this game and you actually help support us. So,
and if not there, you can support your local hobby shop too.
That's right. So in our particular town where we're at, we actually don't have a local hobby shop. So funagain.com is a great is a great outlet for us. So anyway, so you can follow us online. Check out Facebook. Sometimes we post just random pictures of game nights, so where we're not doing full game reviews, so that might be another resource for you. And of course, on our website, BoardGameCloset.com, we post all the pictures of components, and we give you the ability to make comments and interact with other gamers like yourself. So we'll talk to you next time on the Board Game Closet.
Bye-bye.